I'm glad for the amount of time that we do have together.
Yeah, so let's get your contact out, and we have our guest on the line, Nelson E. Brown, but let's get your contact information out. So I know you gotta.
I gotta run.
Yes.
But just so that you guys know, thank you for tuning in to eLife Studios. This is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
My name is the Goddess Builder. I'm a success coach, walking you through undeniable spiritual tools and proven business strategy for unimaginable success. What does that mean? There's a lot that means. Mm-hmm. There's meditation, there's business strategy, there's social media strategy. There's a lot that means. But you can find me on Instagram, the Goddess Builder, spelled exactly the way it sounds, the Goddess Builder. Mm-hmm. And there's actually a website that's available just for entrepreneurs who want to break six-figure success. Mm. And that website is bit.ly/HUNNTY. bit.ly/HUNNTY. And if that was hard for you, I'll actually put out my email address, which is goddess@kenyapope.com. GODDESS at Kenya, like the country, Pope, like the Catholic.com.
All right. So we thank you, sister. We want to be considerate of your time.
Thank you.
We appreciate you stopping by, and we're going to get you back on here real soon. But I have a young man here. I had the opportunity of meeting a very sharp young man, a student at Catonsville Community College, and he's been doing some phenomenal work in the Catonsville area, kind of close to where young Katura actually lives in Catonsville. So I'm excited to have Nelson E. Brown. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. That's a blessing. So thank you for the opportunity, and thank you. You're doing some phenomenal work, and I just had this opportunity when we, going to get your picture up here and the name of your book, so that individuals can actually see that and a picture of you as well. So, but I'll just lead here. First, let me just ask you, just so you're from Baltimore, correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay, beautiful. Now, let me just let the listeners know. This young man reached out to me, real sharp, 19 years old, and has already published your first book. Is that correct?
Yes, this is my first book. I've written, released, and published it. This is self-published.
Okay, so self-published book. Yeah, so open up and so tell us a little bit about yourself there.
Well, like you said, I am 19 years old. I'll be 20 this year in May. I'm an environmental science student at the Community College of Baltimore County in Catonsville, Maryland, where I serve as a member of the editorial board of the literary magazine, as well as the Project Spark Success Team secretary. But in addition to that, I'm employed at the Maryland Department of State Environment part-time, with plans of obtaining a career in environmental science after I finish school. But this first book that I've written, released, and published, it's about body positivity and self-acceptance from a male's perspective. It's a book series. The Beauty in Us is the title of the book series. But this first book is about how I struggled with my self-image growing up. And since this is spoken from a male's perspective, I've decided to create my own movement, since I didn't see any males or young men discussing any of their struggles with their self-image at all in the media in the same manner that females do. And that's why I decided to branch out and pave my own way and do my own thing and work from the inside out, and to do what I was passionate about, and to just make a difference in that way. And in addition to that, I'm in the process of training with a group of ministers to become an evangelist at the Messiah Community Church in Reisterstown, Maryland. I'm under the pastor Rod Harrison, and he's great. I'm training to become a small groups facilitator, and I'm going to be giving sermon-based lessons and just training just to create a ministry and start a ministry career. So it's definitely great for me to just network with all of the people I can, and I've definitely used a lot of different platforms in addition to my own, and to just spread the greatness, and to just bring awareness to something that people don't think about often, if at all.
Yes,
And
yes.
I'm just very blessed and thankful for that opportunity.
Right, right. And, you know, I was looking at, you know, the content of your book, and if you can get that book up, Mr. Producer, and we're just going to show the cover of it, because what, like, made you, I mean, at your age, really internalize, I'm sorry, the, you know, the self-image, the, you know, what were some of your experiences growing up that really inspired you to make you think that I need to share this, you know, I need to do something with my life experiences?
Well, I didn't really look at my self-image as being an issue until I was about 10 years old.
Okay.
It was late elementary school, early middle school. When I was about 10 or 11 years old, in the 5th or 6th grade, that's when I started to view my self-image as being a problem, and I always felt unattractive because of my size at the time. I was always considered to be a heavier student, but it really took its toll on me, you know, later on in middle school and earlier on in high school, between the ages of like 10 and 14. I was very insecure about the way I looked, and it kind of transcended into just my emotional health and my psychological well-being, in a sense. And in high school and in middle school, I was very reluctant, and I didn't really participate in a lot of clubs or activities, and I had a very difficult time making friends. And it's not always about looks when you think about, you know, just the topic of self-image. You
Right.
think about the way people treat you. You think about the flaws that are pointed out to you about you, and you begin to think that a lot of things are ugly. And self-image is not always about your physical self. It can be about, you know, just anything about yourself. And the interesting thing that I've learned about the entire process before I decided to adapt to a healthier and happier lifestyle, not just through diet and exercising, but just through, you know, journaling and through visual art, and just, you know, investing my time and my energy into just doing things that make me happy, I've discovered that, you know, you don't really know what your flaws and what your insecurities are until someone else points them out to you. And unfortunately, I internalized that a lot, because there were a lot of my peers growing up and a lot of my educators continued to point out my flaws, and instead of, you know, just building me up, I felt belittled by a lot of them growing up. Even though I did have supportive people in my corner, it was still very difficult for me to recognize how great I was, and I always validated myself through my academic achievements and all of my other achievements, and it's only because I felt inadequate about my physical appearance, and I felt the need to just feel great at something. And I was a huge perfectionist, and I placed a lot of unreasonable expectations on myself. I was so hard on myself, and sometimes I still am, but I'm learning how to cope with that a lot more, and I have the tools and the techniques in order to do so.
Wow.
Now.
Yes. So growing up, you said that between 10 and 14, you said you had a more of a weight issue of sorts. You said you were a little heavier, correct, than the average student?
Yes, I was considered to be heavier than a lot of the students in my classes.
Right. And so they were like more so, you know, teasing you, or did you feel like you were bullied?
I definitely felt as though, you know, I was bullied by my peers and even some of my educators, not physically, but emotionally and verbally. You know, a lot of people, a lot of my educators, I felt like a lot of them, because of how I was and because of the type of student I was, I think a lot of people, you know, tried to, you know, downplay, my achievements. A lot of people tried to, you know, belittle me because of my personality, but a lot of people didn't really give themselves a chance to get to know me for who I really was, instead of what they see on my exterior. And like I said, I internalized that a lot because, growing up in school, especially, when you're going through school and when you're growing up, you want to, you know, I wanted to please my mom a lot, and I was always afraid of, and I was always a great student. I was always, you know, honor roll student. I always got good grades. I had perfect attendance all the way through school from K to 12.
Wow.
You know, yes, and I did have a lot of achievements, but, you know, I still kind of felt, I mean, I was always afraid of disappointing the people that I loved and cared about. And after a while, I had to learn that I needed to do things in order to make myself happy instead of trying to, you know, make other people happy. Wow. And it's just, and you want to make friends, and you want people to like you in a sense, but you want people to like you for who you are instead of who they think you should be. And that's what I've learned throughout the entire process. And like I said, this is a book series, and I worked on my next 2 editions of the book. I sent them off to my editor. I plan on releasing one in the beginning of next year and the 3rd one the following year around the same time. But just like through this journey, just bringing awareness to this subject about body positivity and self-acceptance from a male's perspective is something that society overlooks and undermines, and definitely in different forms of media. Especially with social media nowadays, you always hear about females talking about their struggles, but I think it's time for people to recognize why men struggle with what they struggle with. And I just wanted to, you know, break that barrier and just be that shining example for the next little boy, or, you know, the next young man, or even the next older man, that, you know, your feelings matter, you know. Right. Through different generations, and it's historical for, you know, men to, you know, have that, you know, tough exterior and to just be, you know, masculine, but you know, in reality, men from generation to generation, especially from the older generation, like the baby boomers generation, you know, it was embedded in them to just, you know, disregard their feelings, and they were really taught that their pain didn't matter.
Yes. Yes, right. What is it? Suppression. Suppress your emotions, right? Like, be tough, huh?
Yes, and there are so many men that suffer in depression, and there are many men, you know, that do not seek professional help. And depression, you know, depression takes a toll on you. It affects your relationships with others. It affects your relationship with yourself. And I know a lot of, you know, people in the black community who don't like talking about mental health, but it's serious, and it needs to be taken seriously. Your mental health is very important. You know, your well-being is very important. You know, just, you know, you have to find healthy coping mechanisms in order to handle situations in your life. And I find that a lot of times men like to escape from pressure.
Yes.
And because they don't like to feel vulnerable, or because they don't want to uncover any of their weaknesses, especially in the public eye, they like to ingratiate themselves into things, or go into things that, in a sense, you know, were designed to destroy them. And those examples could be, you know, drugs and alcohol, or just, you know, if they're having, you know, troubles in their marriage, you know, seeking attention from other women, you know, not, you know, and you know, there are so many things that men, when men buckle under pressure, and when they fall, and when they just go through that, it affects everybody. It trickles down the line. Everybody is affected by when a man buckles, when he falls under pressure. But, you know, spiritually speaking, it's because, you know, the promise comes with pressure. And, you know, in order to, you know, get to what God wants you to be, and in order to, you know, get that promise that you want, you have to learn how to persevere, and you have to learn how to resist temptation and go through trials and tribulations, and then come out on top. And because when you buckle under pressure, and when you fall, and when you shortchange yourself, you miss out on a lot of blessings.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed, indeed. So, how would you say, why are you so passionate about this topic?
I'm very, very passionate about this because it's something that I had to live with, forever, for as long as I know that, for as long as I've known, I've always struggled with my self-image in some way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. I always felt as though, in a sense, especially like throughout school, like, I was not, worth, I was not really, because of how I felt like I was treated. I felt mistreated by a lot of my educators and a lot of my peers. I kind of felt like, they were saying that my pain didn't matter. And I always felt like the weak link in every scenario because, I was a kid back then. And I felt like a lot of people used their power and authority against me in order to make themselves feel better, which is really them being insecure about that. But I realize that now. But at the time, I kind of felt like the weak link, and I kind of felt like everybody, I felt like a target, to everybody. But on the other hand, I think now that, they probably did see how strong I really was, and maybe they felt intimidated by me. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why they did what they did, but, now that, I'm an evangelist at my church, I'm training to be a small group facilitator this spring. I'll be teaching and facilitating a small group. It definitely gives me an opportunity to share the word of God with others and to just share my testimonies with other members of my church, the Messiah Community Church, and it also gives me an opportunity to just touch the lives of others. And since I'm on a journey of self-discovery, I just want to watch other people grow just like me. And in the world of social media, a lot of people seek external validation.
Yes.
And a lot of people work from the outside in when you were really designed by God to work from the inside out with everything that you do. Because your passion takes you further than your skills, and eventually your passion becomes your paycheck. If you work hard enough for it, and if you love it that much, that's what happens.
Right. Yes, absolutely. And you mentioned about social media, where people are seeking validation. I mean, it's just like how many clicks that I can get, and you got the Instagram models that putting pictures out here. It's become like a picture frenzy, if you will. So talk about that, how social media is now playing a part in, I would say, young people's self-images, because you're relatively still young, but you've grown, and you still are young enough to reflect consciously on these experiences even now. So just expand on that.
Well, like I said, in the world of social media, a lot of people seek external validation. And as long as you continue to seek external validation, you will never feel like, you measure up to other people's standards. And that's what external validation is. You trying hard to meet other people's standards. And you see, through different forms of media, whether it's in magazines, whether it's on TV, on the radio. I mean, and social media is a blessing and a curse to a lot of people. Because it is a blessing because, you can connect with whoever you want to connect with, and it's much easier to just, reach out to a person, but it's a curse because, anybody, you can, and all of the users are anonymous. I mean, with the exception of your family members and friends, the rest of the users are anonymous, and it just gives them access to, troll people over the internet and say whatever they want to say without any repercussions behind it. And people have normalized it, that it's unacceptable and it's not okay at all. And like I said, and the thing about social media is that people like to glamorize themselves all over social media. People only post what they want you to see. They just want you to see how lavish their lifestyle is, or they just want you to see how much money they have, how many cars they own, the type of job that they have. They like to, like I said, they like to brag about themselves over social media. But you know, a lot of people on social media think that everybody has everything all together, but people don't like to reach out to people in real life, offline, when people are really struggling and going through stuff. People don't like to do that because of pride. People don't like to ask for any type of assistance because of pride.
Right.
And like I said, social media takes its toll on your self-esteem if you're on it too much. And I always tell people in my interviews and, you know, in my, like I said, in my church and within my community when I speak, I always tell, especially the kids, you know, just monitor your social media intake. Because if you stay on social media for too long, you'll start to hear the voice of shame in a sense, and you're going to start comparing your life with people that you don't even know on social media. Right. And you know your self-esteem is going to rise and fall like a temperature,
right,
or like a scale.
Right.
Because and like I said, you can't even like, and I know a lot of people use social media for their businesses and to promote their brands and stuff, but you know, a lot of people wouldn't be so insecure if they weren't on social media.
Wow. Yes. Yes. And that's why, you know, one of the things I do, I always try to have real live interactions and relationships. I mean, I'm always, you know, somewhere to just like how it was before, you know. I mean, because the disconnect is real, and it's a lot of, you know, kind of falsehoods, you know, being created, you know, with that. So, but let me ask you this question, and how did, you know, your parents or, you know, whomever raised you, you know, it seems as though, you know, I mean, any parent that gets you to go to school every day, like the whole 12 years, you know, it would just seem like they did something right. Or did they have to threaten you?
Well, like I said, you know, I was raised by my mom. My mom, you know, she's my number one supporter. She's by my side. You know, she always says that, you know, she's proud of me and everything that I do. And she always, you know, motivated me and pushed me to work hard, in a sense. And even when I, you know, expressed, because there was a time where, you know, I was afraid of, you know, disappointing her, because, you know, when you're a kid growing up, you know, you want your parents to be happy, and you want there's a part of you that wants to please your parents growing up. Right, yes. And when you were always afraid of, you know, disappointing them, and I expressed to her, you know, that, you know, I was such a perfectionist growing up, and I was always afraid of making mistakes, and it's only because, you know, I was afraid of disappointing her, and I didn't want her to, you know, be ashamed of me, and especially because, you know, a lot of her coworkers, they've watched me grow up, they've seen me since I was a toddler, and, you know, I've come a long way with a lot of, you know, what I do, and she, when I expressed that to her, she understood, you know, how I felt, and, you know, she even shared with me some of her personal struggles with her self-image growing up. So she could definitely relate to me. I mean, from a female's perspective, it's different, but she definitely, as far as struggling with your self-image is concerned, she was definitely supportive of me. And she, even with my book, you know, she was very supportive of me in that process. But then, unfortunately, I think a lot of times, you know, and my mom and I have a very close relationship. I can open up to her about everything. It's nothing like a mother and son relationship. Like when a son loves his mom, his relationships with women are going to flourish. When a man does not have a good relationship with his mother, it takes its toll on his relationships with women. Wow. Yes. Because in a sense, and it's the same thing with, you know, little girls and their dads. I mean, the first person that you say "I love you" to when you're growing up is your mom and dad as a son or daughter. So if your relationship is tarnished, your relationships with other men or women are going to be tarnished as well. And I think that because I'm so close to my mom, I get a lot of hate from people, because a lot of people have stuff to say about women raising men. A lot of people have stuff to say about the mama's boy or daddy's girl persona, and it's just, and a lot of people, and I felt like I was in her shadow a lot because of our relationship, and because I'm so independent and I'm doing everything on my own, and especially because I unfortunately think that people have become so accustomed to all of the negative stuff they see in the media about men of my background that they forget that, okay, there are some that are out here doing great things. Not all of us are in jail. Not all of us are using drugs. Not all of us are drinking. We're not robbing people. We're not bothering anybody. We're just following our dreams and doing what we love to do. And a lot of people, I think, I have a lot of haters in a sense because, because a lot of people are not accustomed to seeing that. And a lot of people thought that, she wrote the book. And I was very offended by that. And just to think that because of, how hard she works every day, you really think that she would just make something like that up. She gets up, she works hard every day. She makes sure that, I'm taken care of, and she's doing all of it on her own. And she is the only one that can say that she contributed to the young man that I am today, and nobody else can say anything about her not raising her son. She's raised a great young man, and people have to see that, and I think people are seeing that now because they've seen me on other platforms, they've seen me on other podcasts, they've seen me on radio shows, networking with other people in the field of science and business and writing and in ministry, and it's just, and I think people are blown away. But she's been trying to tell people all the time, my son's great. I can't believe you're just noticing that now.
Right. Wow. Yes, it sounds phenomenal. I mean, when you first tell someone that you went to school like every single day for the whole 12 years, I mean, that's some superstar type stuff. So I could imagine, and what schools did you go to? Was they in Catonsville or? For high school, I went to the Western School of Technology and Environmental Science.
Okay. My magnet program that I was enrolled in was environmental science. Okay. And after I graduated from Western Tech, I decided to enroll at CCBC in Catonsville for environmental science. My general major is science, but my concentration is in environmental science. Awesome. And I've been employed part-time at the Maryland Department of the Environment since I was 17.
Oh, great.
And I'm almost 20 now. Yeah. And it's definitely been great. I have a lot of supporters at my job as well with everything that I do.
Yes, that's phenomenal. Well, that's really good. And you post a lot of affirmations on your on your Instagram. So give out that Instagram for those that may not know, and what makes you post these different affirmations?
Well, like I said, I'm using my my Twitter and my Instagram profiles. You can find me at Nelson E. Brown, Nelson.E.Brown. You can find me on my Twitter and Instagram profiles. I post the same stuff on both profiles, every day. Right. I post quotes of affirmation. You will see Bible verses. You will see motivational quotes. And a lot of the Bible verses and a lot of the biblical lessons or the scriptures that, I pull, a lot of them are about my movement and what I'm doing. A lot of them are circulated around, identifying you know, who you are as you are, and a lot of them are related to, you know, just self-worth and self-esteem.
Yeah.
And that's a part of everything that I do, you know, and that's what my work is all about, and just identifying how beautiful you are internally instead of externally. And I'm not like, and I'm never ever going to, you know, and every now and then I'll post, you know, some type of environmental issue that's occurring. Since I am an environmental science major,
right.
I will post, you know, I will post, you know, some things about, you know, what's happening in the world of environmental science. But, you know, a lot of people gain attention through negativity. And a lot of people think that, you know, you posting something controversial on social media, or you exposing yourself doing R-rated stuff over the internet, you know, that's going to gain attention, and it does. But you can also gain attention and wide recognition, mainstream recognition, excuse me, for doing something positive, and that's what I'm doing, you know. And like I said, you know, you don't have to. And people forget that, you know, this is social media, this is the internet. Anybody can look at your stuff, and you know, and I tell, like, you know, some of my peers and people in my groups, because a lot of them, they post R-rated stuff. My peers, my classmates, they post R-rated stuff over the internet. And, you know, even some adults, you know, and I'm saying, you know, do you know that employers look at this stuff? Do you know that anybody has access to look at anything on the internet?
Yes.
Do you know how exposed you are?
Absolutely.
So that's why, and that can interfere with your professional life, your career. Your career, you posting something controversial, or that creates ire from the public, that can ruin your entire career and a portion of your life.
Yes, and we witnessed that. We witnessed that a lot with people getting into altercations, or, you know, and next thing you know, people calling people's jobs and things like that. So people have to use good discernment, and actually it's a reflection of who you are, like what you post on, you know, line. Like, I know a lot of people post. I've never shared like these fights. Like, I mean, that some people, and sometimes I see people that I know, and I'm just like, man, you 50 something years old. Why are you posting this fight? Like, I mean, you know, black people and young men and women actually fighting. And I mean, and, you know, I know we're talking about something else, but I want to make this point that, you know, like, why are we reinforcing negative stereotypes of, you know, the black community? I mean, you know, maybe people want to create awareness or whatever, but like some of the regular fights that people do, I'm not sharing that stuff on my page. We don't need to show that to people. We know what's going on within some of our communities. So, you know, I just say that.
Yes, and I totally understand, and like you said, you know, some people really need to get off of social media, because some people are wild on social media.
Yeah.
And also I understand what you're saying too, because, you know, if I look at something and if I don't like it, I just don't comment.
Right. Right.
I'll look at it. I won't say anything about it, but I will not comment. A lot of times people go in on people. People respond to stuff that has nothing to do with them. And like I said, I mean, you can't stop people from trolling. You can't stop people from saying whatever they want to say.
Right.
But you don't have to retaliate. You don't have to retaliate against that person. And like I said, you know, if you seek external validation, your strings are going to be pulled by people that you don't even know.
Yes, absolutely. And that's where maturity and being able to discern between what's real life and media and social media. And this is where, you know, we have to develop an adult-like mind and a personal awareness. So, so where do you see this movement you're building? You know, like in 5 years from now, if you had a crystal ball and, you know, you ask God, you know, where would God take this movement for you? Where would you say?
Well, 5 years from now, you know, I always have a 5-year plan in place for everything.
Right.
But like I said, you know, I'm 19. I'll be 20 this year, and you know, my 5-year plan that puts me at 25 years old, 24, almost 25 years old. And I definitely think that my movement is going to take off. Like I said, you know, I've already written my, you know, second books. I sent them to my editor. She's going to chop them up and make changes, and I'm still working on those. I expect the second one to be released early in next year, and I expect the third one to be released early in the following year. I definitely, I had my own ideas about starting my own radio show.
Oh, okay, great.
Of some sort. That's a part of my 5-year plan, starting my own radio show. What, you know, some type of radio show, probably on Blog Talk Radio or some type of online community, creating an online community, since a lot of people are on the internet nowadays. I definitely have a lot of people backing me. I know a lot of producers. I know a lot of hosts who know the ins and outs of that. So that's one thing on my 5-year plan. My second kind of idea that I have, my second proposal, is to create some type of fashion line for men.
Okay.
Or to create, you know, T-shirts that support my movement with some of the quotes that I like to post on social media about. So I definitely think that, like, T-shirts or just like a fashion line for men, that's another idea. That's another proposal I had. And like I said, I'm still using platforms in addition to my own. I'm still networking with the people that that I trust, and I'm still networking with people who have a great track record of, you know, their careers in business and writing and ministry. And I'm also, well, this is not necessarily a 5-year plan. This is more of like a 10-year plan. But I'm thinking about, you know, planting a church after I, you know, reach where I want to reach, you know, in ministry.
Okay, beautiful.
I mean, I still want my career in science, but like I said, I want to take all my passions and I want all of them to come to fruition in 5 years at the right time.
Right. Yes. Well, that's beautiful. Yeah. So I consider what you're doing. You know, you know what you have to do academically, and you have the discipline, the background to accomplish that. But you also, you know, you're following your passion. You realize that, you know, your voice matters, and other people, and teaching other people that their voice matters and their image actually matters, and that they need to learn how to love themselves, right?
Yes, that's what it's all about.
Yes, that's great. So anything else? I think we've covered a lot of ground here. Went through the, you know, your passions and, you know, what inspired you. Your books, Beauty in Us, everybody, and it's available on Amazon. Nelson E. Brown, young man, Catonsville Community College, and, you know, he's just a sharp young man. He's doing phenomenal work, and, you know, you'll be hearing more about his work over the next few weeks, next few months, next few years, because he's very focused and determined to transform not just, you know, the community, but the world. And so, you know, he reached out to me. He's a professional young man. He's really sharp and punctual, and you know, I just appreciate the opportunity. So anything else you think that that the listening audience and the world should know about you, and what you would love for them to take away from this?
Well, I know I covered a lot of stuff in the interview, but I just want to, just conclude by saying that, I know that, I'm only 19 years old and I'll be 20. I still have a lot of lessons to learn, and I'm still green in a sense in a lot of areas. I don't have as much life experience as a lot of other people do, but I definitely have the passion and the motivation and the drive in order to get things done, in order to create a change. And as a Christian and as a servant and a child of God, it is my responsibility to take my passion, my talents, and to make an impact and to make a difference in this world, for eternity. Leaving a legacy is the purpose of everything, because you can go throughout life and you can accomplish things and you can still not make an impact.
Yes. Wow, that's a powerful statement. That's a powerful statement. So, impact.
Yes, and it's not. And also, when you're pursuing your dreams, you have to, have people help you along the way. You don't get to where you are by yourself. Wow. And a lot of people that have a lot of people who have selfish ambition, and a lot of people who are me focused. They think that it's just about me, getting to where I want to go. This is about me making money, me, climbing the ladder. But a lot of people fail to realize that's not sincere. Yeah. A lot of people are like that, but that's not sincere.
Wow.
And I need you on my team if we're not trying to accomplish the same thing. We are supposed to grow together. You should not be envious of other people's success. And if you find people like that, stay away from them.
Wow. Absolutely.
Because your gifts may not be my gifts, and my gifts are not your gifts. But you have to find something that you're passionate about and work with that. But I definitely would say that, to all of your listeners or your followers and people through all forms of media, if you want to follow me in my work, if you are inspired by my story and my testimony, and if you want to be a part of my fan club in a sense, and if you are really interested and if you're ready to dig deep and look inside, just check out my book on Amazon. It's available in the paperback format for $20. If you like the traditional paperback where you can highlight, underline, make notes here and there throughout the book, that's available. Or if you're technologically advanced in a sense, you can buy it in the Kindle version as an ebook for $10. But both of those versions are available on Amazon. And you can follow me again. You can connect with me directly at brownnelsone@gmail.com, or you can connect with me through LinkedIn at Nelson Brown, or through social media. You can follow me and my work, or just send me a message at nelson.e.brown, at nelson.e.brown.
All right, that's beautiful, man. I certainly appreciate having you, taking the time out. I know we're supposed to did it Wednesday, but Sunday is a best day, the Lord's Day, so appreciate this, appreciate you taking out the time. So that's Nelson E. Brown, everybody. Beauty in Us. Let's put that picture back up there one more time so everybody can see it live here at eLife Media Studios. This young man is phenomenal. He's truly phenomenal, and he's doing some amazing work. His few other books are going to be coming out soon. You can follow him, Nelson E. Brown, on many of the social medias, as well as his book is on Amazon. Definitely check it out and write reviews, once you get the book. And we're looking forward to watching you progress. And, I'm right down the street from you in Catonsville, or, right close to Catonsville Community College. So I'm always working with the senator in that district. So hopefully that's my senator and your senator too. So I'm going to connect you to her. She loves working with young people. So I just say thank you. You keep up the good work, and, keep prayer, and, continue to go to the next level. All right?
Thank you. I really appreciate you giving me this opportunity to share my story and testimony, and just using this platform to allow my voice to be heard. So thank you very much.
All right. God bless you. Many, continue more. So we are out. Beauty in Us, the beauty in us, our reality. Nelson E. Brown, everybody. So So thank you all for tuning in, listening. eLife Media. Thank my producer here holding it down. So we had a good show. Took it to about 55 minutes. So that's cool. So we are good to go. So I won't be in next Wednesday. We're going to work it out and do some more stuff. So I thank my co-host, the Goddess Builder, for being in at the beginning. You can check her out, the Goddess Builder. I appreciate her holding it down for a little while that she was able to hold it down for us. So till next week, everybody. Till later, we say we out. Holla at the Success Scholar, Success Scholar, HAKI.com, as well as Success Scholar 1 on Twitter, Success Scholar on Instagram. All right, so we're going to show that clip again?
Yeah.
All right, let's go. All right. That was dope. All right, we can cut it out here.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother. All right, everybody, we are out. If you didn't see that, check out Katira Love. Katira Love, holding